Hey, Patreons, welcome back to the Spotlight. This is our segment where we talk to folks in the pop culture space, people who are instrumental in making and creating and being a part of all the great stuff that we love. Today, we are with Albin Johnson, who is the originator, or the co-originator, according to my notes anyway, of the 501st Legion, the absolutely famous Vader's Fist cosplay or costuming, as I prefer to talk about it, organization that is global. Albin, good evening to you. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys? I'm really pleased to be here.
Awesome. Good deal. Well, we'll get right into it again. The 501st has been around since the late 90s, if I'm not mistaken, 1997.
That's correct.
And you have become equally well known in all of fandom for your daughter, Katie, and the R2KT, which is immediately to your side there. And the fundraising that you do in her honor, which is something I personally understand, and I'll talk a little bit about in one of my questions to you. But let's get the ball rolling. And this kind of meshes together my first question and Peter's first question, so we'll call it a super question. How did you get into loving Star Wars, which is probably pretty academic because you and I look like we're probably around the same age, so that all factors in. But how did that get rolling, and how did that turn into the 501st?
All right. Well, I came from the Ozarks in Missouri, and we didn't have a movie theater or anything. Moved straight to Charlotte in 1977, and imagine your first ever marquee shows Star Wars on it, and the signs there, and my dad took me and my two brothers in, and we had been raised on World War II films and Baba Black Sheep and stuff like that. And so walking in, the vibe was already there. Like, it's very much a World War II-esque movie, and it was so exciting. Of course, like a lot of people who didn't know, didn't grow up in the 70s. Yes, everything was dark orange, like in the photos. Like, that's what it felt like. It was very monochrome. And so to see something so, I mean, and you didn't have VCRs or even really good magazines back then. You had trading cards and word of mouth. And you'd go home and relive it. And like, you'd buy the LP and play the story LP. And so I was just in love with it from the beginning. I fell in love with the idea of knights, and I fell in love with the idea of wizards, and of course pilots and ships and weird robots and stuff. So coming from the sticks of the Ozarks to that was obviously transformative, and everybody else seemed to think so too. So second part of your question was, how did that get to the 501st? Is that right?
Yeah, and I stole Peter's question, so you can pretend he asked you. And
well, Peter, that's a great question. Thank you. Brilliant. Probably it's just amateur hour till you ask that. Anyway.
Oh man, yeah, I'm out of here.
So there's a lot of different reasons why, but I'll just say that in 94, 95, I was struggling with losing my leg in a car accident, and I was really bummed out. And all the feelings. And my friend Tom Cruise, Tom Cruise and I worked in Circuit City, and he was cheering me up, and the movies were coming back. And if you didn't live at that time, you just don't know. But there was just it was like nothing was going on again. And suddenly Star Wars came back and brought color again. It was like Wizard of Oz when, they'd open the door and there's color. It was crazy how much under the surface excitement there was that the fandom had. And for that to come back, Tom was like, hey man, we got to talking, and look, I'm not Harrison Ford or Mark Hamill, but I wanted to be a part of this. And he said, well, there's a group out in California that's selling these kits, and we got the kits. And it was basically an idea to get me out of the house. And I was feeling very self-conscious with an artificial leg and everything, but it didn't matter. This didn't matter. Putting on the full head-to-toe costume lets you completely immerse into the galaxy of Star Wars, and I saw with my own eyes. I had no design to do that for, what has it been, almost 30 years now. But when you saw the fans' reaction, I think that's what got me was you were Star Wars. You lived in it. You represented it. And that was awe-inspiring. And I thought to myself when I saw Tom show up the very next weekend during the opening Return of the Jedi, the reaction, the difference in one stormtrooper to two stormtroopers was like this. And I was like, this is a costume that the more you have, the cooler the impact. And I just got to running with that. That's what I wanted to do, was create that excitement in other people. And my original goal, are you ready? Was 100 stormtroopers. So
Peanuts.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was unattainable, but
just mildly surpassed that.
Yeah. I think we nailed it. Yeah. So yeah, success. Yeah.
That's crazy. So that was used for the special editions back in '97 is what we're talking about, time frame wise. And then yeah, we'll circle back. But holy cow, yeah, because I have a later question. But something that's absolutely awe-inspiring about you is what inspired that beautiful R2 unit that's right next to you, the Astromech, excuse me. If you wouldn't mind talking a little bit about Katie, I have a similar experience. I have a son who passed away 5 years ago with childhood illness. He was 13. And my wife and I did charity through Star Trek in a Star Trek club that we ran for years and years and raised money for Make-A-Wish because he was a Make-A-Wish kid. So that really touches me. But if you wouldn't mind, I mean, tell us a little bit about your story.
Sure. Yeah. I'll kind of, anytime she hears her name, she kind of wants to be, it's being in the movie. It's done that to her. So, yeah, back in 2004, we got the diagnosis that my second oldest daughter, Katie, was afflicted with a brain tumor, and it was a basal glioma. So that means at the base of your brain. And when people think of tumors, there's some you can cut out. This is one you just can't cut out.
Yeah.
So it was pretty clear fatal diagnosis. I mean, there's always a shot, right? But we just kind of gathered together and made a plan about it. And what you do, I'm sure you know, and I'm sorry to hear about your loss.
Thank you.
Is you do everything, like we already want to give our kids the world, but you've got a short time frame and you think an unlimited wish list. And we got to talking to Katie, and she really liked the scene in Attack of the Clones when R2D2 is watching over Padme and while she's sleeping, and everybody knows the scene, but Katie really reacted to that because she was stuck in bed all the time. And so she said, wouldn't it be great if I had a droid and it'd be pink? And her sister Allie at the time was like, hey, it could be pink like an R2KT instead of R2D2 like Katie. And so off we went, and I bought this eye right here and got on the forums. And, I thought I knew my way around because I'd done Stormtrooper stuff for years. I was going to talk to the R2 builders, and it was really hard to get those parts together because they don't all run. They're not on a store shelf somewhere. They run at different times. People are making different ones. And the R2 builders very quickly realized Al is in over his depth, and they said, let us take it over. And so Jerry Green in Rhode Island and Andy Schwartz and a bunch of other guys, they took it over, Pat Koju, and they just, as a community, came together. I mailed them the eye, and that was my only part that I contributed. And they did it all. And in spite of that, they still weren't going to make the time frame. So Andy Schwartz repainted his R2, drove it down here, and Katie got a droid watching over her till the day she passed. So we made the dream come true, and that's all that matters. We thought, what do you do with the R2 unit now? Well, apparently, same thing you do with Stormtrooper armor, and that is people get excited about it, they get behind it, and before you know it, she was going to all these different events, and one day we got the call. Kathleen Kennedy wants her in Force Awakens, and now she just can't contain her ego. She's always,
she looks so smug. Yeah, just sitting there.
She's very smug. Yeah, she's the princess, and I she's actually been off getting a complete facelift for the last. Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't supposed to. Okay, 2.5 years, and top to bottom, Pat and Alex Koju. Alex Koju was just a little kid at the induction ceremony or the presentation ceremony where Pat and the rest of them presented her to us, and now
Oh
he has
wow.
become a true Jedi, and he refurbished her, and she looks fantastic. And I'm sorry I don't have the lights on, but she's fully automated and
Yeah.
and
Oh, that's fantastic.
great new batteries and internals, and yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I got to stop starting things because
Never, never.
we have 36 of her now, all over the
Oh my
world.
gosh.
Yeah,
She multiplies.
yeah.
Oh,
And you, hey, do you want an exclusive scoop?
yeah. I'm listening.
Ones that Japan just submitted their application, so we're gonna get Japan. So
Oh,
you heard it on this podcast first.
I love
We're
it.
about to get a KT in Japan, so over almost 40 around the world
Oh my
raising
gosh.
money. And we had 3 of them meet in Des Moines, Iowa this last weekend at GalaxyCon. So it's big. Pink Force
That's
is
awesome.
bigger. Yep. Yep.
I love it. I love it. Peter.
Um, so obviously, KT's got her moment on film, but the other thing that you started also kind of made its way gradually. So, what was your reaction when the 501st was sort of gradually brought into like the official Star Wars universe, first with Timothy Zahn and Survivor's Quest? I know that kind of made me really excited when I first heard that.
Yeah.
And then the big one when the clones walk in Revenge of the Sith, and then everyone was like, "That's the 501st," and then obviously leading into the Clone Wars. But like
Yeah.
going from you making this in '97 to all of a sudden officially existing in a galaxy far, far away.
Guys, you just, after a while, you're like, how did I hit lotto multiple time after time after time? Because just to have Timothy Zahn feature us in the book was humbling. And I remember reading that book just with tears in my eyes, just going, someone believed in us. And Timothy Zahn, as all fans know, is just a fantastic human being, and he's got a great vision. And so, meeting the folks that eventually put out Pandemic Studios, I think it was, put out Battlefront 2. We were in that. And then finally, for us to be in the official encyclopedia showing, yes, those are the 501st. Y'all, it's crazy. I tell people, first of all, I never get a dime for anything that's 501st or R2KT that they make, and that's fine. I wish they'd just tell me, because I've walked into toy stores. I've walked into a convenient, not a drugstore, like a Walmart, Walgreens,
Yeah.
at like 11 o'clock at night, and it's the Christmas stuff's marked down, and there's a 501st figure on a shelf, and I'm like, what? What? So it's everywhere, but I never know it. You go to
Yeah.
Target and the Lego sets. Oh, look, another 501st. No big deal. It's crazy. And y'all, when I gotta say, it was a 1-2 punch being a Force Awakens, because I don't know if you noticed they put the 501st flag in Maz's castle.
Right.
All those flags.
All
There's
those flags. Yeah.
what? So
So they didn't like tell you beforehand. They were just like surprise.
yeah, they didn't tell me beforehand.
Don't want to get that Lucasfilm lawsuit coming your way.
No. Let's just say I was looking. Like, I knew. I was like,
Okay.
boom. Okay. Wow. I think that's a win for everybody. As much as I'm gratified by it, I mean, think of all the hundreds and hundreds, then thousands of people that worked hard to promote that. I mean, it's all about the branding, right? Like, we had an early struggle in the club where naturally people want to kind of bifurcate and diversify into their own logos. And I went, you really got to push this one logo, guys, because it's what creates this mystique of this fictional unit, and that I wrote about.
Yeah.
Like, early on, I wrote, hey, what if Vader had some guys off the books? And you see them all the time storming around a corridor. You two, go with me, come with me. What if that's our unit? And it paid off. These people put the flag up there and the brand and the logo, and I just think it's a huge win for everybody. So I'm happy to see a bunch of my fellow Star Wars fans come to the finish line with me. It was really gratifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very, very good. Looking at the last, gosh, yeah, it'll be 30 years, 97, and we're recording in 2025. If you're listening in the future, how, when we flash forward to today, what does your overall interaction with the 501st big organization look like? Are you still doing shows? Are you still trooping? What are you doing these days with the 501st?
Myself personally, not as much as I used to. You have Justin Sonnefeld and Crackerjack command staff um, taking care of the business. And there's not a single weekend where the 501st isn't somewhere trooping. I mean,
Right.
constantly. And that was my dream, was to create a sustainable model of energy, of dynamic action. And if there was a dream beyond the dream, it was that, okay, you've created the bad guy unit, but it's great to see them diversify into good guys, Mandalorians, Rebels, Saber Guild, to see them working together. And guys, I've been to some shows where they would put Disney, not to shame, but they would rival them. The the floor space where, especially in Florida at MegaCon, and when I was in Italy a couple of years ago in Milan, all of the clubs got together and built like a super set, and you could walk from one themed area to the next. So you're hanging out with Jawas one minute, and you're hanging around with the armor at the forge with the Mandalorians the next. I'm like, yes, this is it. One big village. And before it was easy for people to feel a little petty and competitive. Well, competition's good, but teamwork's better. And
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's what I mean. I don't feel the urge to step in and meddle with, it's working. The machine's working. It never was about me. It was about good leadership, good mentoring, and then handing it off. And that's what they've done.
Right. Right. And Peter and I are, I would say, somewhat amateur cosplayers. I have, to my left, I have a series of jackets I wear. Some of them are Star Wars. I'm a big Star Trek guy. We do more photo shoots than we do being parts of clubs these days. But I've worked at the 501st. I was never a member, but I volunteered, local baseball games, and, different things of that nature. So I appreciate the craftsmanship. It's absolutely just some incredible stuff. So yeah, what you've created is kind of mind blowing. So Peter's got the obvious question to start to wrap us up.
Yeah. I do have a question that came to mind before this one, if you don't mind. If is there a moment of like working with through the 501st that just stands out to you as like, this was an amazing moment of something that you got to take part in?
Yeah, I mean, the obvious answer everybody talks about is marching in the Rose Parade in 2007, and meeting George Lucas, and that whole weekend was amazing. Um, but the moment where I just felt like just crying out of joy, just it was almost the feeling maybe Gene Roddenberry would have felt when he thought about um, the future of mankind. And that was the officers meeting we had at the Rose Parade in the hotel, and we just did a roll call, and it didn't hit me until I heard all these different voices of people looking differently, sounding differently from all parts of the world, and it'll hit you, man, just knowing that you have so much more in common with people than you ever have apart, and we need more than ever today to know that we have so much more in common, and to just see all these souls come together that just want to imagine, and they believe enough in this dorky idea to get together. Tell you, man, it's
Yeah,
humbling. I'm just so grateful for that. Yeah.
Sweet. Awesome.
absolutely.
So on to the obvious question, I guess. If someone were want to get involved in the 501st or like the R2D2 Builders Club to like, build more astromechs, what would be your advice to them? Because sometimes it can seem a little, daunting.
Oh, it's so overwhelming. Like, it's easy now to say join, but it's intimidating. And I've told fans that there's like this invisible barrier that they make up in their head that, like, I'm a super fan, but I'm not a costumer or a R2 builder or a prop builder. And I tell them, like, it's as simple as just get with a couple of the people in your local community that you know are joining up, and ask them like, what can I do? You talked about being a grip or a supporter at one of the 501st events. That's perfect.
Mhm.
Um, people will loan you their costumes and their armor. They'll let you drive the droid. They'll, it's it's not the wall that you think it is. And there's a lot of costumes that are really good entry level costumes. Like you can do the scanner crew. That's just
Right.
it's just a zip up thing and some boots and a hat and we need those because you can't all be Darth Vader. If you had like 20 Darth Vaders,
Yeah.
you'd be like, what? Um,
Yeah. Right.
I like the scanner crew guy in the background because now your brain just tells you this is more immersive of a world experience because that guy is there or whatever.
Yeah. Right.
So there's a
Yeah.
lot
Right.
of
This is a
different ways.
functioning unit. Yeah.
Yeah, and if people want to build a droid, start with a mouse droid. I mean, just get an RC car, a shell, tack on some things, spray paint it, and don't ever let your level of ability bar you from doing something. Stumble before you run. Stumble before you walk, before you run. But take a swing, and people will respect the effort. Sure, there's a lot of costume snobs out there, but I mean, forget them. They're off, trying to make money or something like that. I mean, the real people just love it for the game, and they want to see
Yeah.
other people join. So, if you get I have a special place in my heart for women trying to get into fandom because I have 5 daughters, but it's not as big a deal now because women are rapidly taking over and
Yeah.
showing us how it's done. Um,
Hallelujah.
but
Yeah.
find something that's comfortable for you. And if the people you talk to don't make you feel comfortable, trust me, there's more. Um,
Yeah.
and I'll be the first one to say if your local 501st group isn't picking up the phone, go to the Rebels, go to the Mandos. I've had so many people go, I wasn't happy with this particular experience, so I did this. And I'm like, whatever works. As long as you feel fed as a human being and a sense of fellowship. So a
Yeah.
lot of
I gotta yeah, at our local con, because I don't, I'm kind of out of the con life now because we do this and this takes up a lot of our time. But in past years when I ran a booth for the Starfleet International, the Star Trek fan club, I was like talking to the Mandos more than anything. They seemed much more chill and much more accepting and much more interested in what we did, like Peter and I did, because Peter and I are very particular Star Trek customers, just extremely particular. So we really bonded with them kind of around that regard. So no, I totally appreciate that. So before I ask you my wrap up question, I'm like, I got to ask the expert his preferences. Question A, favorite Star Wars film. Question B, favorite Star Wars television, and C, favorite Star Wars character.
Empire, Mandalorian, and Luke Skywalker.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's pretty close for me.
Well,
But I didn't think I'd have to slot in Andor for my favorite show.
yeah, no, that's perfectly valid. There's a lot of feels in both of those shows, and I never thought another movie would catch up or even get close to Empire, but Rogue One. I mean, that's
Oh
pretty
yeah,
close. And I'm gonna say the unpopular thing, just for anybody
do it.
listening, but Solo was awesome. Solo,
Yes.
that was my childhood. I read the Del Rey books. I loved the Solo smugglers and whatever. And to watch that, like, shame on everybody for pooping on that poor kid making the best. Like, you try being Harrison Ford. Like, he did a
Exactly.
great job. It was great. It very much was in the vein of the book. So yeah.
Yeah,
So honorable mention for Solo right there.
I appreciate
Also
that.
had some
Peter,
really good score decisions.
yeah.
So
Peter and I, we do this we do this interview show, but we do a Star Wars show bi-weekly and a Star Trek show on the opposing week and a lot of other things. And I know it's always been our point of view that entertainment is to make people happy, and it's never going to be one size fits all. So we're really never super high on people that got to put down something somebody else enjoys. That's just it's not cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely uncool. All right. Well, to wrap this up in a big bow, tell us about what you're doing right now in the space. Tell us about the KT organization. I get your emails, the patches, the fundraising. I love that stuff. But tell us on the way out the door about how people can find you and how people can find that and all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's good to talk. Thank you. It's good to talk about it because there's some confusion. So you have Pink Force Foundation, founded by Andoni Serrano, and these people are doing amazing work. I sit on the board, the honorary president, but Andoni does the masterminding work. Him and Christine, his wife, and they are going. First of all, he runs KT4 in Spain, so he's part of the. We call it the ambassadoroids, the Pink Force ambassadoroids. But he started Pink Force to get into hospitals, into schools, and really synergize with big companies. So he's met with experts in cancer research and blood donation and everything. He's taking my idea and just like on a geometric level, making it better. And
Fantastic.
so, Pink Force Foundation is now operating in schools in a STEM program to build mini KTs, teaching kids how to robotics work, then take those droids and put them in hospitals. That's the kind of stuff we're talking about. So, I would say if people want to get involved, Google a Pink Force Foundation, learn about them, and of course, everything can be reached from our website www.r2kt.com. And we just approved our 37th, I think, 36th, 37th, losing track, Canada. So we're in like 15 countries, 37 of them. We had 3 of them get together this weekend in Iowa, as I said. So we're everywhere, and that solves a big problem because people were constantly sad they couldn't meet KT. Well, now you can. She's on the West Coast. She's on the East Coast, North. She's down in Florida. We're gonna just keep trying to bring smiles to kids and try and bring more education, awareness, and charity funds. So r2kt.com. We'd love for you to join us.
Awesome. Very good. This has been tremendous. Al, I appreciate you making the time.
Absolutely.
We are going to put all of that in our show notes so people can grab those links, go check them out directly from listening to the show. So thank you very much. It's been absolutely fantastic. Patreons, thanks for tuning in. If you are listening to this on our free feed, you can visit patreon.com/Secret Friends Unite. Find a ton of other great creator and pop culture interviews like the one we've just had with Albin Johnson, our guest tonight. Thank you again. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Much respect.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and podcast services around the galaxy, as well as video on our YouTube channel. You can support Secret Friends Unite by becoming a Patreon member, get bonus programs and more over at patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. Join our Discord community for even more discussions on all things geek. For all the latest updates on Secret Friends Unite, make sure to follow us on Threads at secret.friends.unite and visit secretfriendsunite.com. Find our merchandise at TeePublic and Redbubble. Thanks for listening, and may the Force live long and prosper.